Brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today, and by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Lots and lots of great scenery in and around this ballpark here in Colorado as the Marlins and the Rockies get set for the second game of their three-game series. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Jessica Blaylock, glad that you're with us on a Saturday afternoon, and a beautiful Saturday afternoon here a mile high as the Rockies, much like the Marlins all year this year, celebrating 25 years of big league baseball. They had a lot of former and current names and faces on the field prior to the ball game today. And just like the Marlins did a couple of weeks back, having an anniversary weekend. Always very special for the Rockies, which I guess is something of a sister franchise to the Marlins.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Good to see some of these Rockies back, former teammates of mine, guys that I've known, guys that I competed against. The history, the 25 years is kind of my career in the game of baseball. So a lot of these guys I've either played with, covered as a broadcaster, or played against. So Todd Helton, good teammate, good friend as well. Good to see a lot of these guys back.
And I'm sure, just as we did in Miami a couple of weeks ago, they'll have a lot of these guys moseying up around here in the broadcast booth on the Rockies broadcast side of things. Tyler Anderson gets the ball today for Colorado. There was a late change in the Marlins lineup. Starlin Castro was always hitting first in this batting order, presented to you by Southwest, but Derek Dietrich was not in the lineup. Miguel Rojas was in the initial lineup, but he has since been removed, had a little bit of an irritation in the hand. The hand started to bother him a little bit, a left hand contusion, so any further word, we'll pass that along. So this is the way the lineup currently shakes out, with Dietrich back in there, and boy, oh boy, has he been red hot as of late. So he is out in left field today for Don Mattingly's bunch, which he said after the game last night that he was a little, disappointed with the approach, that it was a little out of whack. So hopefully a bounce back today against Tyler Anderson, who we saw a little bit of last time out when these two teams met in April, but he's making his 16th start this year.
Yeah, that's right. April 27th, the Marlins saw him. He only went an inning and a third. He left the game with some lightheadedness. You see the numbers on the season, 4.52 ERA, about ready to go over 80 innings pitched. He's pitched okay here at Coors Field, but traditionally has pitched better throughout his career. We'll get into that in a second. But again, you see the numbers. You see he has been very aggressive. One thing that stands out, 28 walks. That's actually a pretty good number when you consider that he pitches here at altitude. Go ahead and give you the AutoNation scouting report while we're at it. Rocky Mountain High, I kind of alluded to it, 3.77 career ERA at Coors Field, even though this season it's at 5. At 6th all-time amongst Rockies with 100 or more innings, 3rd amongst starters. So he's kind of figured it out. This is the guy that kind of they pegged as, listen, we can build around him and put him in the rotation. He knows what he's doing. Time for a change now. Right-handed hitters, keep your eye on this one today. It is his most lethal secondary pitch. I talked about it a little bit yesterday, but it's a very, very good pitch to have. He's got a good one and uses it an awful lot. His cutter is another one to keep your eye on as well. And reverse splits. I was happy to see Dietrich in the lineup. Anderson's actually got reverse splits, 333 batting average for the lefties. Righties hitting 239. Part of that is because he doesn't really have that sweeping slider as part of his arsenal.
Castro digs in, and we are underway on a Saturday afternoon here in Denver, Colorado. A called strike to Castro. Had a hit in last night's ball game, scored a run. A hit in 7 of his last 8 games against Colorado, hitting .323 in that stretch. Pokes the bat out, flips this one to Ian Desmond, a step or two onto the outfield grass, and there is one away.
All right, let's give you the Rockies defensively. As you just saw that changeup already in play, a little pop up to first base. Here they are for today's game. Parr gets the start in left field. Blackman in center, Gonzalez over in right. Arenado. Story, who started all 76 games this season for the Rockies at shortstop. LeMahieu, Desmond, and Walters behind the plate. He's got a catcher's ERA of 4.66. Rockies 16-12 when he starts behind the plate.
Brian Anderson takes a called strike. He had a hit in last night's game. A career long and a team season high 19-game on-base streak for Brian Anderson. And a ground ball with 3 men on the left side of the infield. Up and throwing is LeMahieu, but he is in there safely. We'll see how they score that one. I assume it would be a base hit, even though the throw was a little high, but into the shift.
Yeah, let's go ahead and give you the shift, because I think it's important to realize that you got second baseman on the shortstop side. Sometimes those are the circumstances. It's directional hitting, dare I say aiming, but that's not what you're thinking as a hitter. You're just trying to put the ball in play, hit it hard, exit velocity, those types of things. And you see this one, hard hit ball up the middle, finds its way.
Throw sailed a little bit on LeMahieu, but Anderson is on at first base with an infield single. Now, he's not necessarily in the Joe DiMaggio realm yet of lengthy streaks, or Ted Williams when it comes to the on-base streaks, but it's nice to get it out of the way. I don't know if 20 games he's thinking about it yet, but he's on base early on for JT Realmuto.
Now for Anderson, listen, think consistency. It's what we've raved about him, and no surprise that he's been on base in 20 straight. All right, that's a pretty good look at what Anderson's trying to do. He comes right out against JT Realmuto. 3 hits yesterday, couple of doubles using the middle of the field. First pitch changeup, second pitch cutter.
.313 on this road trip for Realmuto. This again goes off the inside edge, and he chases for the first strikeout of the game.
I'll give you another look at the cut fastball. Again, it's a good pitch. It's got good secondary stuff. It's fastball, four-seam fastball, hit hard by both sides. But this is essentially what he's trying to get through, and you probably see a lot of it today, that cutter and the changeup.
There's Cameron Maben in that original lineup that we mentioned, was in left field with Anderson in right. But a late scratch for Miguel Rojas moved Maben from left to right field and Anderson over to third.
One thing has become somewhat of a guarantee. You see a lefty on the mound, Maben's going to be in a lineup. He's done a fantastic job hitting well above 300 this season. He's putting together quality at bats, particularly of late, using the whole field. He's gone the other way a couple of different times against the lefties on this road trip.
And that's really been the main spot. Other teams may do it a lot more different positions, but the main spot where the Marlins will do the platoon. With a lefty out there, usually it's Maben in left. With a righty out there, usually it's Dietrich in left. But the lefty-righty splits for Cam's career, the average, identical.
Well, consistent, certainly. And of course, Cameron's, he's been a regular player earlier in his career. Obviously, a little bit more of a platoon role this season, but he's done a fantastic job in what is asked of him. Go up there, be great against the lefties. He has been just that.
.63 and .47 in his career against the Rockies. A lot of those numbers with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but Miami has had some very good success as Anderson is back at first. Very good success against the Rockies over the last 25 years of their existence. In fact, 28-17 Miami against Colorado since 2012. The best record against any National League opponent in that time. Maben fouls it back, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, well, speaking from the perspective of the opposition going up against the Rockies, since its 25-year history, we're talking about it today. That was always the mindset, was that if you got them out of Coors Field, they had a hard time scoring runs. You could beat them in your ballpark. Here, if you had a good offense, good enough to come in here and kind of bang with them a little bit, you could come in and steal a game or two. So when you kind of add it all up, there's a lot of teams out there that have had a pretty good run. Let's play at first base. Like I said, if you've got enough offense to kind of keep up with them here at Coors Field.
What do you make of that move for Anderson? Kind of hangs there for a second.
Well, part of what he does is disguise it. He does it just about every pitch, in that you don't really know whether he's coming to first or going to home until that weight shift towards the plate or towards first base. So you got to be real careful. So he kind of hangs in the air on every delivery. Give you another look. Watch how he suspends right there. Doesn't commit to home, doesn't commit to first until the very last second. It's a tough read.
2-2 to Maben. To Story at short. They will get the runner at second base for the final out of the inning. Well, another great play by the shortstop, Trevor Story. Glad you're with us. Marlins and Rockies heading to the last of the first. Here is a look at the Rockies starting lineup today, presented to you by Southwest. DJ LeMahieu at the top, Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado 2 and 3. A very formidable bunch this club is. A little bit of a different look today as it was last night. Trevor Story bumped down a spot with Carlos Gonzalez cleaning up. Today against Trevor Richards, making his 9th start of the season.
Well, Trevor not coming off his best start of the season, but he's definitely been pitching a little bit better since returning to the big leagues. This will be his 4th start back. 4-seam fastball, changeup, and curve. That last start didn't make it through 4 innings, did give up 6 earned runs against the Baltimore Orioles in Baltimore.
Yeah, lasted only 3 1/3. That was his first start after his first big league win. Day in which the Orioles snapped a season-long 9-game losing streak. Two and 1 to LeMahieu. Gave up a season-high 6 earned runs over a season-low 3 1/3 innings pitched.
Now, I find myself talking about his changeup an awful lot. I think it's going to be a valuable pitch today if he's got it. Here's why. When he doesn't have it, he has to rely on that curveball, which is not a bad pitch, but it's still a little bit more of a work in progress. You kind of go back and look at the hard numbers. 6 of the 9 hits, probably because he didn't have a very good changeup in Baltimore, were on the fastball. And when you look at his numbers on the whole, it speaks to confidence. When he's ahead in the count, hitters are hitting 184. In large part because of the good changeup and the decent curveball that he's got. But when he's behind in the count, hitters are hitting 429. So keep an eye on that this afternoon. Lefties 215, righties 317 with 3 home runs.
So here's a very elementary view of it. I want you to clean it up and advance it for me. But if you say that the curveball is a work in progress, we have talked a lot about LeMahieu sends one out to right field and Maben is underneath it. If we, you come to this ballpark and they talk about, yes, the altitude and the thin air, but the ball doesn't move. The breaking ball doesn't move. Is it going to be a lot, would you think, of fastball changeup today?
Oh, absolutely anticipate it being
almost exclusively.
Almost exclusively. I'd be shocked if, maybe he'll pick a couple of spots at the bottom of the lineup to try out the curveball and see where it's at. But I would be really surprised because, again, when you look at what his curveball has represented for him, hitters are only hitting 250 against it. But here's the point. They're slugging 650. 4 of the 5 hits that he's given up on the curveball have gone for extra bases, meaning that when it's up in the zone, it's getting hit hard. This is not the place to find out how well your curveball's doing, and you definitely don't want to hang it here. So to me, and I found, again, this is speaking through, the eyes of a former Rocky, in playing out in this outfield many, many times, is that you watch guys who can kind of add and subtract to that fastball. Splitties work here, sinkers work here, changeups work here. You can get away with the slider for an extended period of time if you're really deliberate with where you put it. But if you start to hang it and you start to lose it, you're almost done.
1-1 to Charlie Blackmon.
We're seeing a high percentage of changeups already. The fly ball to right on that 3-2 pitch to LeMahieu was in fact the changeup. The changeup right there gets him ahead 1-2 on Blackmon.
Well, mentioned the struggle the last time out for Trevor Richards, and Don Mattingly was asked about that and Richards in general before the game, and he once again, seems like every 5 days, he compliments it because he thinks so highly of the poise of this young man. He says he could be pitching well or not well and you wouldn't know it. He has that sort of emotional control out there where you almost want to nudge him in between innings to make sure he's still alive.
There's some sustainability to that, meaning that even when he's kind of got his back against the wall, he's not sweating the same way other guys do. You don't feel that vibe, and so the defense, is behind him. They're ready to make plays. They're engaged. He's trying to make pitches. You don't sense panic. I mean, that's big, especially in a place like this.
Those are the 3 outings since coming back from his stint with New Orleans. And he gets the strikeout of Blackmon.
Here's your Marlins defense for today's game. Dietrich in left, Brinson in center, Maben getting the start in right, Anderson over at third base, Rivera, Castro, Realmuto, and Holiday behind the plate. Don't you dare run on him. 9 for 9 have been the last 9 stolen base attempts. He has thrown them all out. Richards on the mound.
You have been warned.
Yes.
A strike to Nolan Arenado. Had a home run in last night's ball game. In fact, home runs in 4 straight games. You go over his last 8. He's hitting .455, 5 doubles, 5 homers, 16 RBIs. So one of the guys you circled to figure out not going to beat us today. This is not going to be the guy to beat us today.
You'd think, again, even yesterday you kind of set yourself up ideally. I mean, he obviously a couple of base hits early in the game against Chen with nobody on. And then you kind of get to that one moment where it's like, oh my gosh, the 4th inning is just extended all the way back to Arenado once again, and now he's facing Chen, having thrown already 35 plus pitches in that inning, and it's like we're screaming vulnerability here. Hottest guy against lefties on the planet in the box, already got a couple hits. Inning has now prolonged, maybe a couple plays depending on how you view it that could have been outs that didn't ultimately end up being made, and he hits a huge 2-run home run. Yeah, this is, one thing, there's a lot of different ways you play at Coors Field, but one thing is honestly, extending innings to individuals that you're trying to avoid. And you always have those guys when you play here at Coors Field, but that inning kind of classically kept getting there.
Back-to-back strikeouts as Richards retires Arenado through 1 in Denver. Scoreless. Back for the top of the second inning. A couple of strikeouts to end it in the bottom of the first inning, including Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, these are great signs. Again, the good spot to get that breaking ball in there. Arenado likes to take that first pitch of the ball game. Then a couple of fastballs all away, and then you're running it classically. We used to call this the breakdown. When you get to the changeup and you do everything in your power to try to get extended. Watch Arenado all the way down to that back knee. He's just like, mercy, I got no shot at even fouling that ball off.
Derek Dietrich to lead things off, takes ball one. Just because you got him once, it is going to be a battle all day long for Richards, whoever may follow him against Nolan Arenado.
That's a great point, but the way you got to think here at Coors Field is one little battle at a time.
Right.
You just got to win them. Do your best to just kind of hang in there and win those, those mini battles that you have inside each inning. You get caught up in, when's he hitting again? You're going to end up. You'll watch, excuse the pun, an avalanche.
It's the hockey team down
yeah.
here. Dietrich, Brinson, and Rivera here in the second. A ball and a strike to Dietrich, who has been red hot as of late. Righties, lefties, doesn't really matter. He has been swinging a hot bat. 3 for 5 last night, a double, a home run, a low line drive the other way. Hitting .375 on the road trip.
He's handled himself pretty well against the lefties. .269 on the season. It's pretty excited to see him back in the lineup. Again, swinging a hot bat, playing at altitude. Anderson's got the reverse splits. Doesn't throw too many changeups to lefties, so you can almost eliminate one of those secondary pitches. He does throw the cutter. You just saw it.
There's 2 strikeouts this afternoon for Anderson. One away here in inning number 2. Apologize for picking up that frustration. 1 out. It was Brinson with an 0 for last night. 5 hits on the trip. .262 in the month of June.
Now, what's been impressive of those 5 hits, 4 have gone for extra bases. Couple of triples, couple of doubles.
And also made a nice play in left center field last night to take away extra bases. And that one fouls right off his foot. Quick to hop back up, thankfully. It's 0-2.
He's going to catch this off his shin guard on the front side. Again, a cut fastball. Oof. It's a good day to have the shin guard on, especially guys that throw cutters an awful lot. And speak to that, that's what I ended up breaking my leg with, dealing with a cutter.
Chases that one, and Walters will throw down to first base to complete the strikeout. 2 away. That's now 3 this afternoon for the lefty.
Please join us for Salute and Serve Monday, presented by TIKD Ticked, June 25th, as we invite those who serve to join us for a ball game. Active and retired U.S. military personnel, veterans, firemen, and policemen receive 2 complimentary tickets when showing their official service IDs at the center field entrance at Marlins Park. For more information, visit marlins.com/offers.
And now Yadiel Rivera takes a called strike. Yadi 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter in last night's ball game, and 4 hits and 12 trips on this road trip. And shoots that one foul quickly. 0-2. Back-to-back days for the Rockies in which they throw out a former first-round pick. Yesterday, John Gray. Today, Tyler Anderson. As they still try to figure out, and it's been 25 years of it, figuring out the right way to build a pitching staff, a starting rotation here at altitude. What types of pitchers are going to work? You're going to get the free agents that are going to come. They've had Mike Hampton, of course, who famously said that, yes, there's a $100 million contract, but I also like the school system. That was the line there. Can you get the free agent pitcher to come here, or do you have to draft the guys? The eternal question for the Rockies as Rivera strikes out and Anderson strikes out the side. We head to the last of the second here in Colorado. Scoreless to the bottom of the second inning. Talked an awful lot about how these two teams may have differed over the years in terms of the run scoring. But our Toyota Inside Look shows us that 10 of the last 25 stolen base champions have come from either one of these two franchises. The Marlins have 7, the Rockies have 3.
Well,
Juan Pierre's on the list.
He's on both lists, right. CJP there as well. But, you know, it's an interesting dynamic. I do remember a lot of the conversations from the Marlins perspective, like we've got to create runs. It's a little bit more difficult here. Let's look to be aggressive and steal some bases. Here in Colorado, a little bit different in that, generally speaking, you say to yourself, well, we don't want to give up outs on the bases, but at the same time, a lot of times the conversation would be, don't lose your aggressiveness. We are going to be a team that's going to run. We want to get after it because, again, you can continue to add pressure even on the bases. Guys on the mound have so much to worry about in trying to control damage.
Ball and a strike to Carlos Gonzalez. And now 1-2. Well, 4 strikeouts for Anderson through 2 innings of work, and 2 strikeouts in the first inning for Richards.
And the secondary pitches at work for both of them so far.
Blocked by Holiday. Stay tuned to the middle of the 7th inning for the Ram game break. Full slate of Major League Baseball around the country today, but as we play right now, only a couple of games actually in progress as we speak outside of Colorado. As Gonzalez strikes out, that's 3 for Richards. One away here in the second.
Yeah, both these guys came armed with good secondary pitches so far this afternoon. Between the two of them, you get 7 punch-outs already in this game. A great changeup off that outside corner. Tried to bury a slider slash curveball pitch before. This is much more effective. Gonzo willing to go after it.
So 1 down for Trevor Story against Trevor Richards. Story last night, 1 for 5, a run scored, a double, a strikeout. Now down 0-1 here. 3rd in the major leagues and 2nd in the National League with 56 RBIs.
He's been a beast, and you kind of look at what he has done. Some of these guys have reverse splits, kind of have done very, much more damage on the road. Story is the one guy who's got that story. Coors Field has been his home. Ranks first in the National League, tied for second in the majors. 13 home runs here at Coors Field. That's home ballparks, is which I'm talking. 39 home RBIs as well. So major damage here.
Out to right field, Maben hustling in and will make the catch. Well, it's either been strikeout or 9. a couple of putouts for Maben and 3 strikeouts.
Hey Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by Coors Light. Download the app, take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
Nobody on, 2 out for Gerardo Parra. Came off the bench last night and lined a bases clearing double down the right field line.
Well, thank goodness nobody for him to drive in. He's picked up 13 RBIs over his last 5 games.
13 by 5, that's a lot.
Well, it's 39% of his entire total for the season is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
He's done it. His last 5, as I mentioned, he's driven in a run. Last night saw 1 pitch with the bases loaded, came in and pinch hit and emptied the bases. In the 7th inning, a 3-run double. Interestingly enough, no home runs in 28 games here at Coors Field. So, not driving himself in either.
0-2 from Richards. Tries the outside corner, and that one just outside, says home plate umpire Carlos Torres. The crew chief Jeff Nelson is at first today. Tom Woodring at second, and Scott Berry is over at third. Tipped and into the glove of Holiday. 4 strikeouts through 2 innings for both starting pitchers as we move to the 3rd here at Coors Field. 0-0. This copyrighted telecast is presented by Authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Good look at Red Rocks. As Brian Holiday will lead things off. There's Trevor Richards going to get some different equipment. Who knows? He'll be hitting second in the inning as Holiday lines one out to left field and right into the glove of Gerardo Parra. A quick out here in the 3rd.
Good to see Holiday kind of picking up where he's been leaving off. A whole lot of opportunity to start, but he's been swinging the bat pretty well over his last few starts. Picked up 3 hits coming in. Good swing right there.
Ball 1 to Trevor Richards. We've seen this delivery a little tricky, not Kershaw-esque, but a little bit.
Yeah, if you get caught up watching that front leg, you're not busy picking up on the release point. So you're right. I mean, there's other things going on there. Of course, for Anderson, it's a timing mechanism. But again, if it deceives the hitter, he's like, you know what, I'll do it again. But the point being is you're looking for that release point right there as that arm comes over the top. And that's what you need to be focusing on, not what's going on in the lower half.
I wonder how a pitcher gets to that point. You know what I mean? Where you have to, where I got to wiggle my foot 3 times before I throw the pitch.
Well, like I said, he probably doesn't even know he does it anymore, even though that's exactly where it's at. And the idea is, I bet it has something to do with keeping his weight back. And it's a timing mechanism so that he stays on his backside just a little bit longer than maybe he was dealing with prior to. Clearly has lost his command as he walked Richards on 4 pitches. We're just talking about his mechanics, and now he's all off whack.
You're welcome. It's about time.
Cruising through the lineup. All of a sudden, walks Trevor, who's still looking for his first big league hit, by the way.
Yeah, it's about time I jinx the other team every once in a while.
I like it.
Jinxing our guys too much. Starlin Castro takes a look at ball 1. Castro popped up to Ian Desmond back in the first inning. And Walters to go out to talk with Anderson.
A lot of conversation about Anderson, really kind of his career. I was looking at an interview between Bud Black. He was actually talking about Anderson in one of his previous starts. You know, his pace on the mound is kind of where his command is at so much of the time, and he can get a little too fast out there. I think Bud Black actually told Walters to go out and talk to him just about that. So far this inning, 6 pitches, a line out to left, a 4-pitch walk to Richards, and a first pitch ball to Starlin Castro. Trying to get him back online.
Now a ground ball left side. Arenado gets to it. They get Richards, and the throw back to first a little wide. Castro will reach on the fielder's choice. 2-away here in the 3rd.
Starlin Castro, ground ball to the left side. We've seen a little bit of that lately. Really turning 2.
If it's not a rocket through the left side of the infield, Arenado and or Story will get to it. In fact, they've got LeMahieu on that side of the infield now, as he was against Anderson in the first when Anderson went right back up the middle. LeMahieu got to it, but BA reached on an infield single.
I mean, isn't this classic? I mean, the Colorado Rockies have 3 infielders on the left side. I mean, we've watched Brian Anderson all season long. I mean, is this a dare? I mean, you're asking Anderson, the pitcher, to execute perfectly, knowing what we know about Brian Anderson, his willingness to go the other way. Let's see what ends up happening here.
So how does BA sprinkle the ball around? Pretty balanced.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, you're absolutely right. But even that off-field approach, I mean, for a guy who hits in the middle of the lineup, that's pretty impressive results right there. Typically, you'll see heavy to left, heavy to center, and very few to right. He's kind of maintained that left center, right center approach. The entire right side of the infield wide open. Putting a lot of pressure on Anderson. Now, Anderson, again, the pitcher, not the hitter.
Tyler O'Brien.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Tyler's, you know, his goal right now is cutter in, change up away. That's what he's trying to do to the righties.
Well, that was about 42 feet. Again, apologize for the frustration of Tyler Anderson, as that one just absolutely spiked. That just about got the grass in front of home plate. And dirt again. 3 balls and 2 strikes, and it'll be a head start for Castro over at first.
Well, fantastic discipline. He's really trying to put BA away with that changeup away. That's what he does here. Goes to that cutter in.
Swung on and missed. Strike 3. That's 5 strikeouts through 3 innings for Tyler Anderson. Scoreless.
Are dealing right now. It's a scoreless ball game in the 3rd inning. Well, coming up this weekend, we have a brand new edition of Inside the Marlins for you. It's called Inside the Marlins, the top 10 moments, and you are not going to want to miss this. You're going to hear from former players like Charles Johnson and Gary Sheffield. You'll also get to relive no-hitters and some of the most memorable swings that have taken place throughout the history of the franchise. Inside the Marlins, the top 10 moments, will premiere tomorrow immediately following our Marlins Live postgame show.
Jessica, thank you so much. Here for the bottom of the 3rd. Ian Desmond, Tony Walters, and Tyler Anderson. Bottom 3rd of the order for the Rockies. Richards deals. Inside, 2 balls and no strikes. I'll put you on the spot a little bit. I think I know the answer. That's why I'm going to do it. Your favorite Marlins moment in the last 25 years?
Well, there's a lot that you can kind of go to, some personal, but I do think to final out in the World Series. I mean, it was just such a to kind of bring it all together. Everything that our team went through that year, including getting Jeff Torborg obviously dismissed. Many of us took that upon our shoulders because we weren't playing very good baseball. To know that the story ended the way that it did, and that kind of being that representation, Beckett becoming the man that he became in the postseason, the guy that he was, all of us grew as a team. And it was fun, but I think that, you know, to kind of put it in one moment, you just have to think of Josh, you know, tagging Posada on the way by and it finally being over.
First walk of the day for Richards and the first base runner for the Rockies. Now, refresh my memory. Game 6. Where were you in the 9th inning?
On the top step of our dugout.
Had you played a pinch hit or done anything?
No, not in that game.
So, okay, so I'm just trying to get to where were you mentally going into that 9th inning?
We got this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's 2-0, right?
Got it. And we had it. I don't want to say that we were necessarily playing to the script, but we knew where Josh was at, how well he was throwing the baseball, what we felt about the Yankees offensively at that period in time. They were struggling. They had a couple guys that Jeter and Bernie were the 2 guys that we were easily the most concerned with. Everybody else, we felt like if you pitched to them, you could, make your pitch, you'd get your outs, and it, for the most part, was that all series long. It was really just on us to be better offensively, and of course we scratched across a couple runs in game 6, but Josh just taking it to a whole new level. Just a whole new level. I mean, we saw him be good that year. He became legendary that postseason.
Top 10 moments premiering tomorrow after the Marlins Live postgame show, as the Marlins and Rockies will wrap up their season series as this bat goes flying into the netting, thankfully, above the Rockies dugout.
A little arm side run on the fastball. See Walters really trying to extend out. So much so that that went flying.
Walters, one of the 3 catchers on the Rockies roster. He's getting a start today. Saw Tom Murphy last night get 3 hits. They also have Chris Iannetta. And Walters strikes out. That is now 5.
Yeah, 4 of them on the changeup.
Anderson bunts. Richards fields and will get the out at first base with Castro covering. A sacrifice for Anderson, and up to second goes Desmond with 2 outs here in the 3rd. Two outs for the Rockies leadoff man, who flew out in the 1st inning. 0 for 4 in the series. Now 6 for 22 on the homestand. Of course, the Mets in town for a 4-game series prior to the Marlins getting here. Rockies going to play some home games now, so they can perhaps try to figure out what's been ailing them, and certainly hope it starts more so Monday than over the next day and a half. But this is a team that started 11-20 here at home. They have won 4 in a row, so perhaps from the Rockies side of things, they're figuring things out at home.
Now, need to be careful right here. Desmond, in my opinion, the most aggressive and most athletic Rockies base runner that they've got. He is willing to really throttle it up. 2 outs here. He's going to be going. LeMahieu, 333. Runners in scoring position at 2 outs.
Desmond walked. Walter struck out. Anderson bunted him to second base, as once again that one is inside. 3 balls and no strikes to the Rockies second baseman. The dangerous Charlie Blackmon on deck. A 4-pitch walk to LeMahieu sets up a force at any base. But in steps Blackmon.
Blackmon, a strikeout victim his first time up. I know this sounds crazy, but we did mention the reverse splits that Richards has. Lefties much less success against him than the righties. I think in this situation, if you can factor in that changeup, maybe get Blackmon out on his front foot. That's a bad contact. Get out of this mess here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Blocked by Holiday, and out to the mound he goes. As we mentioned before, the challenge may be for Richards today, and it's got nothing to do with him necessarily as it does with the elements around here, is that if he's only kind of limited to two pitches, is there a danger of getting predictable?
Well, I mean, again, it is what it is. It's not that he's not going to use his breaking ball today. It's got to be a little bit more of probably a show-me pitch. Maybe he picks up a few, you know, swing and misses along the way. But the point is that, you know, I just don't think either Anderson or Richards are going to use their breaking balls all that much.
Blackman tips it foul, back to the screen, 1-1. A .310 batting average since the start of 2015 for Charlie Blackman. Has a batting title in that span, 4th in the National League and 6th in baseball. At the moment, though, hitting .282, which is nothing to thumb your nose at, but certainly not where he's been the last couple of years.
Trying to shorten up Desmond at second base. Desmond, again, a good base runner, trying to get a little bit more. Well, his outfielders playing very deep.
Ball and a strike. Have to be so careful at this ballpark with the free passes. Both runners aboard right now on via the walk. The only 2 of the ball game for Richards. Three walks in his last start. Check that, 1 walk in his last start against Baltimore. 3 prior to that against the Giants. Control has been much better since coming back from New Orleans. One-two to Blackman. Just off the edge.
Richards has been very, very careful, especially on the edges. He's made sure that if his misses have gone off the outside edges, not towards the middle of the plate.
On the ground to Castro. It's rid of it and retires Blackman. So Richards works around a couple of walks in the 3rd. Zeros. Both starting pitchers doing a nice job to this point. A closer look at Trevor Richards and Tyler Anderson. Both have the strikeout pitch working today. 5 aside.
That's absolutely right. Richards almost exclusively that changeup. Did strike out Blackman on a fastball, but for Anderson, a little bit more of a mix. Of course, the changeup a big pitch. 7 of the 8 regulars for the Marlins today, obviously right-handed, so you're seeing that sequencing of cut fastballs to the inside part of the plate and changeups away.
Kind of like that one right there.
He doesn't seem to be too happy with how that changeup's been working this afternoon.
I would tend to agree with that.
Every time I see a changeup out of his hands, I'm just going to yell earmuffs.
That would be smart.
Would that be good?
Yeah. It's a family show on a Saturday afternoon.
You better believe it.
Can't have that. Ball and 2 strikes to Real Muto, and that one misses low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Real Muto, Maben, and Dietrich. JT with a 3-hit game last night, his 8th of the season and his 4th in the month of June. He's been swinging a hot bat. Has that average up over 300 now. And did he hold up? They check down, and the crew chief Jeff Nelson says that's another strikeout. Make it 6.
The Marlins and Metro PC will be hosting watch parties for the World Cup. There's for afternoon games throughout the month. First base presented by Corona Light. First 50 guests to visit the Metro PCS store at Marlins Park before kickoff will receive VIP access. Visit marlins.com/watch parties for a list of dates.
Called strike to Cameron Maben, who grounded out to Trevor Story in the 1st inning. Marlins having a tough time getting traffic on the bases against Anderson. And they've gotten a piece of the home plate umpire, I believe. I don't know. Looks to be walking it off if it did.
One thing that certainly seems to be standing out in regards to Tyler Anderson is that he doesn't have a great feel of that changeup. Maybe some of the right-handed Marlins hitters can eliminate that changeup altogether if they see it out of his hand and we just start to sit on that cut fastball. Hasn't thrown too many changeups for strikes other than in that 2nd inning.
Yeah, less than a third of his changeups have gone for strikes today. Pitch on Maben, 2-2. There is another. That's 7.
Are you ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
Last night, the starter John Gray, 12 strikeouts. 2 relievers notching 1 apiece, so 14 strikeouts for the Marlins last night. As Dietrich sends this one high in the air to right center field, a long way back, and that one is gone. It's a home run for Derek Dietrich, his 10th.
Well, Dietrich is some kind of hot. It's not a lefty-righty hot. It's not a lefty-lefty hot. It's get his bat in the lineup every single day kind of hot right now. He is all over it. It was just as fast as you mentioned something about, I don't know what, 7 strikeouts or something
That
about
was not
that.
a strikeout.
Yeah, well, guess what? That's a cut fastball that's getting deposited in the right center field bullpen. Oh, beautiful swing, good extension.
And now Brinson lines one to Arenado, who takes away potential extra bases. Boy, that was a jolt. But a leap by Arenado at the hot corner after the home run from Derek Dietrich to give the Marlins a 1-0 lead. Rockies.
Arenado, we talked about this a little bit in yesterday's ballgame. The similarities between his swing and Adrian Beltre, one of the best to play the position. Both third basemen we talked about, he's kind of like his inspiration, and you see some similarities between the two. The happy feet, obviously the still upper half, just slightly. But again, the closed stance, I know from that angle we didn't necessarily get in on it, but you see that front foot. Watch how the front foot closes off, and you have that front shoulder really driving back towards the mound. There's a lot of similarities. You can kind of see it in the front side. I know you can't really tell as far as depth perception on the side, but again, that great swing. Look how they really keep that weight inside on the outer edge of that left foot. It's a lot more similar than you think. It's funny because you watch players who, emulate other players' swings, guys generationally ahead. And what it is their interpretation of what they see. And I always find it amazing. There's so many things that are the same. There's obviously a few things that are a little bit different. We were talking about this yesterday. Like the word that came to mind. Now, we watch Adrian Beltre. You don't think of the word twitchy. No, because his upper half is a little bit more calm, even though he does have those happy feet. And we'll see it every time he takes a ball that's like a slider low in. He's got some happy feet. He dances a little bit. Now, Arenado, you watch. It's almost like a rhythmic dance. Watch his feet. He does the same thing every time.
He would get to 10,000 steps on a Fitbit in a doubleheader.
That's right.
It's unbelievable.
He's got a busy, but and I've said this all along, and I think I really do stand by this. I don't know if other hitters put it this way, but I really do believe hitters' personalities come out in their swings. You watch them enough, you say, that's the type of personality that individual has because you see his swing every day.
Now, when you talk about emulating someone from maybe a generation prior, did you have a guy?
Oh, absolutely. I had a guy. I tried to do Andy Van Slyke's and Von Hayes' swing all the time, just because they were the types of player that I wanted to be, kind of watching them grow up. And I grew up watching Von Hayes. Andy Van Slyke played center field, but a lot of similarities.
Swung on and missed. Flew it right by him, 93 miles an hour. Second time that he has set down Arenado this afternoon, and the sixth strikeout for Richards. Last of a three-game set, and the season series wraps up tomorrow. South Florida Honda dealers present our Marlins Live pregame show. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson back in the studio. A three-city road trip recap in advance of Caleb Smith and Herman Marquez. The two starters tomorrow afternoon on the air at 2:30. First pitch a little after 3 o'clock. 16th start of the season for Caleb Smith. Made a start in San Francisco his last time out. And 0-2 to Cargo.
Well, I found it so interesting. Of course, it is still 1-0. But we watched both pitchers, both Richards and Anderson, dominate that first time through the lineup. So you look for adjustments. So far, not many.
We have talked a lot about, and it could very well be the pitchers today. Correct me if I'm going down a weird path, but is this ballpark tougher to pick up the ball during the day?
Oh no, I don't think so.
That's got nothing to do.
You have a tremendous backdrop here. You see it in center field. You've got the trees, you've got the green wall. Maybe a little bit, I would say, maybe for a right-handed hitter. Of course, I really can't answer for that. From the right-handed batter's box, you see that traffic out to the left side out there, but anything to the right's all dark.
Well, Cargo had no problems there. As that, a base hit up the middle, is the first of the afternoon for the Rockies with one out here in the fourth.
Well, we mentioned making adjustments the second time through the lineup. Cargo just did. First base hit of the game comes on a changeup.
Trevor Story with a fly ball out to Maben in right field back in the second inning. Bats with one on and one out here in the fourth. Talked earlier about the poise of Trevor Richards and his quotes after his last start. Kind of a rough outing against the Orioles. Kind of play right into that. He said, you got to roll with the punches no matter how the outing goes, good or bad. Tomorrow you start over. You do the same routine and you get ready for the next one. I mean, this is a guy who the Marlins pitcher of the year last year in the minor leagues. gets sent down to AAA after striking out 10 Dodgers. As Story lines a base hit down the left field line. It's off the wall. Dietrich gets to it, and being held at third is Cargo. Second and third, one out for the Rockies. Their first and second hits of the afternoon in rather short order.
Well, it felt like a matter of time. Of course, this changeup splits the plate. Get the ball up a little bit more. I knew Story was going to start to wake up. He's put up such big numbers here at Coors Field this season. The lines went into that left field corner. Nice job by Dietrich getting it in, able to keep runners at second and third. Still a way out of this fourth inning mess.
And yet another extra base hit for Story. We'll see if Richards has the poise to either limit the damage or avoid damage in this inning. He's got, at least in the last couple of weeks, an RBI threat. Gerardo Parra up with 2 in scoring position. Anderson's even with the bag at third. Everybody else at normal depth as Parra flies out to center field. Brinson tracks it down and will throw into third. It's going to be a sacrifice fly for Gerardo Parra. And we're tied at 1. World Cup action continues tomorrow with a full slate of matches, and it all starts as Harry Kane and England take on Panama at 7 a.m. on FS1. The FIFA World Cup tomorrow on FS1 and Fox, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Did I hear that Germany, a favorite in this tournament, if not the favorite in this tournament, in the 95th minute won the game? How about that? Excitement.
Sounds about right. That's
Down
my
to the
team.
wire. Like, well, figures. I've got Argentina. I think they lost like 15-0 the other day. Something crazy.
I was keeping a close eye on it.
Yeah. Ian Desmond walked in his first trip. Desmond, along with Story and Arenado, a trio of Rockies that are among the 9 players in the National League that have 15 home runs and 40 RBIs. At the start of play, Arenado 17 homers, 53 RBIs. Story 16 homers, 57 RBIs, and Desmond 15 homers, 42 RBIs. Braves on that list too, but 3 Rockies. Just missed upstairs. By hitting the spot that Holiday set up by kind of popping up a little bit out of his crouch. I wonder if that threw off Carlos Torres, because that had a lot of the zone. Either way, it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. The inning started with the 6th strikeout of the afternoon for Trevor Richards, but then a base hit to Carlos Gonzalez, a double to Story, and then the sac fly from Parra has evened things up after the Dietrich home run at the top of this inning. And now 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I'll tell you what, Desmond's newfound approach appears to be working. He's got a .529 on base percentage in the 5 games against the Marlins this season. He's really making Richards work. 0-2 all the way back to a full count. Reached base 3 times in his last 3 ball games.
And that is a called strike 3, and now Desmond has words for Carlos Torres. 1-1. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida, brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by the Lincoln Spring Sales Event, drive into spring in a new Lincoln. Beautiful, beautiful scenery all over the place here in Colorado. Always fun to visit. And right now, last night and today, treated to some very good weather. Tomorrow, maybe a little different. We'll see. As long as there's no snow, though. We've seen stranger things.
The only snow there is in the Rocky Mountains, right at the top.
And their game is not there tomorrow, correct?
There you go.
We will not be playing there tomorrow.
Do not believe so.
Playing here at this particular venue. Okay.
Not unless I missed the memo. I don't think I did.
Have to check the travel itinerary.
Right.
Oh, look at that. We are playing at the top of the Rocky Mountains. Who knew? Yeah, off in the distance, just beyond the left field wall. A high chop right side. Desmond will field this in foul territory. Still 0-2 to Yadiel Rivera, then Brian Holiday and Trevor Richards. Here in inning number 5. Desmond wasn't thrilled with the called strike 3 that ended the bottom of the 4th inning, but as we looked at it, it may have been off the edge, but it wasn't as bad as it, I think, looked live.
Yeah, the argument is that he got away with a pitch earlier in the sequence.
Exactly.
Maybe that was a little bit of a borderline call.
Well, Anderson has not needed many borderline calls. He has 7 strikeouts today. In fact, both starters have 7 strikeouts through 4 innings pitched. Both have surrendered a run. And I want to say this now before it turns into a 13-12 game. A pitcher's duel here at Coors Field. Did I hear right yesterday? There have only been 9 1-0 games here at Coors Field. 9 1-0 games at Coors Field. That's astounding.
Why?
It just doesn't. There's 81 home games a year here.
Did I not tell you the size of this outfield yet?
Yeah, no, I get it. It doesn't seem that's less than 1 a year.
Well, here's the thing. You talk about all that beautiful space that you see as the outfield. It's only defended by 3 guys. Nobody's tried to put 4 out there yet.
Oh, the Cubs come to town every once in a while.
But you know what I'm talking about. It's not like they're doing it on every play. Point being, you also have pitch elimination. as I've explained to you, a lot of guys will come in and, you're kind of resequencing your arsenal. If your best pitcher, your number one out pitch is your slider, you're still not going to use it as much. It's the kind of place that kind of hard for me to believe that we don't see 10-run games more regularly than the 1-0s,
right,
which is very much the case.
The last 1-0 game here at Coors Field was June 12th, 2010. It's been over 8 years.
As I remind people, you can throw no-hitter here.
Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And that is the 8th strikeout of the afternoon for Tyler Anderson. Geico presents this moment in Major League Baseball history between the Marlins and the Rockies. And Todd Helton, 3rd cycle in Rockies history, part of a 10-2, oh, so it wasn't 1-0 that day, okay. 10-2 ball game, June 19th, 1999.
Yeah, if you look, 7th inning as he's finishing up his cycle, there's already 10 runs in the game. It's 8-2. That's kind of my point.
Yeah,
that's more likely to happen on a daily basis. Todd Helton in the building.
Houston Street, right? There's a number of former Rockies here.
Were you a little surprised when Larry Walker walked in?
I turned around and I saw him.
Larry just kind of hanging out over your shoulder there?
I thought maybe we should have him on. I thought, well, you know what? When the Marlins, all the former Marlins were in Miami, they didn't have extra time.
Right.
We had guys run late just because there was so much
stuff
going on.
I think a lot of them are doing the same thing.
Exactly. To Arenado at 3rd. Always seems to need to get that running start. And he retires Holiday for the 2nd out. And Larry Walker next door with Jeff Hewson on the left and Drew Goodman on the right.
You know that Todd Helton will go down as probably the most memorable, obviously, Rocky. Spent his entire career here, and justifiably. You see Helton's names all over the place.
There it is. There is a
stop myself right now mid-sentence. Congratulations.
The first of the career.
That's right.
For Trevor Richards.
You know, it's funny. I had a feeling about that today. He's got a walk and a knock. He's put together the best at bats so far this afternoon. Just to finish up on Larry, like if you're looking for a player to play at Coors Field and then take it on the road and not have anybody fall victim to those road splits that we talk about all the time, Larry was your guy. Disciplined approach, power to all fields. Thought about being a good hitter first. Just a tremendous athlete. Most people don't realize this. He was like the biggest guy on the team and the fastest guy on the team. I bet you if health didn't fail him, and again, he was pretty healthy, but there was a couple of stretches where he really missed some significant time. Maybe if he got that back, I think the Hall of Fame conversation might be a little different.
Castro did not get a piece of that one, so it goes all the way to the backstop, and up to 2nd goes Richards. And Larry Walker, the only Rocky that has ever won a most valuable player. Castro swung through that one, and then Walters couldn't find it. Walker won that MVP in 1997. 20 years later, the Marlins got their first MVP. Ball and 2 strikes to Starlin. 7 Gold Gloves for Larry Walker, 3 batting titles, 5-time All-Star.
Just look up his stolen base totals.
He will. 230 in the 15 to 20 range pretty regularly from 1990 to 98 with some 30s mixed in there.
By the way, he's like 6'5", 240 pounds. Right. I mean, he's just an incredible athlete. Whether a teammate or anybody that I ever played against, nobody possessed the skills that he did, and I think most people who watched him play generally think the same thing.
And you could probably make a case too that in some regards he put baseball on the map in 2 spots.
Yeah.
Canada and Denver.
Absolutely. He taught me an awful lot about outfield play. When I first got here, he kind of took me under his wing and said, listen, this is how this park plays. This is how you have to think. You have to think about being aggressive on the bases, being aggressive on defense as well, because this is one of the toughest places you'll ever play outfield.
And Castro go. He held up. It's now 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, good job by Starlin. I know he's really pressing right now, trying to get that swing going. He's in there battling each and every pitch. Made it all the way back to 3-2. Anderson really trying to get him to go outside the strike zone.
Payoff pitch. Low and in. Ball 4. Second walk of the afternoon for Anderson, and the Marlins have 2 on and 2 out for Brian Anderson.
I'll tell you what, that's a real impressive at bat by Starlin Castro. As I mentioned, those numbers in that situation, disciplined to lay off, make some in-game adjustments, and shorten up that swing a little bit. It's a pretty good job. Remember, he swung at a wild pitch.
Yes, he did.
Well, I mean, listen, having been there a million times myself, that's a really impressive at bat when you're not seeing the baseball as well as you'd like.
Up the middle, but Story gets there. The flip to LeMahieu, and Tyler Anderson is out of the inning through 4.5, tied at 1. Has matched Tyler Anderson basically pitch for pitch today.
Yeah, and he's done a fantastic job of using that changeup. I felt like it was going to be a big pitch today. You see the strikeout there. You see the fly ball to right off the bat of LeMahieu again. That little diving action, some arm side run, but again, sequenced it very well. What's important, listen, you can't just come out and throw a great changeup all day long and think you're going to get a ton of outs. Of course, we love the strikeouts, but it's the ability to set the pitch up, and that comes with fastball command. So he's had a little bit more of that today, not so much in the Baltimore start, but again, good today, which leads to numbers like this. Through 4 innings, 68 pitches, 7 strikeouts. Remember that start in Los Angeles where he struck out 10 in 4 1/3 innings? I think it was his last start before he went back down to AAA. That's where I was really kind of starting to pick up that real good vibe on the changeup, and I'm starting to see it again today.
Well, if you put that start with his first two back and kind of eliminate that Orioles start, a 3-start stretch, he's 1-1 rather, with a 2.30 ERA, and he is at least through 4 innings today back to that form. We talked about it before. If walks or control was a little bit of an issue in his first big league stint, he worked on that, got things under control, working with the baby cakes. 37 strikeouts and 4 walks as Walters down the left field line. Dietrich sliding to make the catch.
There does a nice job of getting himself into position to make that sliding catch. In fact, it's our Bonefish fresh catch of the day. Why not? Dietrich stay hot. Swinging that hot bat. Some good defense to go along with it. Nice job of getting down before that little sidewall kind of jets out.
So 1 out here in the 5th inning, and now the number 9 hitter Tyler Anderson takes ball 1. Anderson with a sacrifice bunt back in the 3rd. Now lines it straight back, 1-1. In case I didn't finish that thought because of the nice play by Dietrich. 37 strikeouts, 4 walks in his time with AAA New Orleans after that 10 strikeout performance against Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers in late April. There's another one on the changeup again, his 8th. And there's 2 outs here in the 5th as we check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, well, before going pro, DJ LeMahieu played college baseball at LSU. While he was there, he helped lead the Tigers to the 2009 College World Series. Well, not only did they get there, but they won it. LSU beat Texas 2-1. And for LeMahieu, he says it's still one of his favorite baseball memories. By the way, Brian Anderson's Arkansas Razorbacks going to play for a title starting on Monday.
They just beat Florida, right? Is that what I believe that was last night? Knocked out Florida. And Maben started in, now goes back, is able to recover and retire. LeMahieu, we are through 5. 8 strikeouts for Richards, 1-1. Since you said so, sure. There it is. There's Larry Walker popping in, saying hello. Get a chance to reconnect with an old pal, huh?
It's always good to see Larry. Larry's a good man, good family, tremendous teammate, good friend. Still hangs out in South Florida every once in a while. Does have a house down in West Palm, so we get to see him every now and again over at the stadium.
Absolutely.
Just making sure that he checks in when he comes down.
That's right. I'm Paul. That's Todd. You know us. JT Realmuto to lead things off here against Tyler Anderson. It is Realmuto, Maben, and Dietrich. Well, we have been treated to quite the pitcher's duel through the first 5 innings between these two. And this is kind of what we thought we might see from Anderson, just in terms of him being a former first-round pick, although the first time out, if you recall, in Miami, lasted just an inning and a third, left with some difficulty breathing, some lightheadedness, but has not been the case at all today. That one misses 2 balls and 2 strikes. You heard Craig mention Jacob deGrom and Clayton Kershaw going tonight at Citi Field. Last time out for Anderson, he matched up against deGrom. He gave up an inside the park home run to Brandon Nimmo on the 3rd pitch of the game, then a home run to Wilmer Flores. He had gone 7 innings in his previous 2 starts. 11 strikeouts and 1 walk in that stretch. And whatever hiccup he had against the Mets, a series in which the Rockies won 3 out of 4 against New York, he is back to rolling for the Rockies right now. A base hit for JT Realmuto to start things here in the 6th. It's time now for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. Vincenzo Aiello of the Greensboro Grasshoppers, a right-handed pitcher. Since April 20th, 15 games and no runs allowed. Not bad for a 28th round pick last year out of the University of Oklahoma.
Yeah, no coincidence that started on my birthday, so.
Well, naturally, so there you go. Take all the credit for it.
I'll tell you what, nice in-game adjustment from JT Realmuto. A couple of strikeouts to start. Base hit to center field, his 4th of the series. Probably should still have 5. I'm still lobbying for the one that was dropped. Again, all going to center field, so nice approach here at Coors.
Yep. Hashtag keeping it Realmuto. You're going to keep saying it, keep doing it until the guy gets to DC. I mean, no disrespect to at least the 5. Every, I believe it's the National League on Monday, the American League on Tuesday. Every week it gets released, the ballot update. You can vote through July 5th at Marlins.com or MLB.com 5 times a day, 35 times max. And honestly, it's got nothing to do with, who we broadcast for. I mean, you could just look at the numbers and, play the blind resume game and look at here, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 catchers. Who's got the best numbers? Who should be going to the All-Star game? And I think you'd come up with JT Realmuto. Ball and a strike to Cameron Maben. Chopper to short. Story goes to second, and they get the lead run. The runner retired on the fielder's choice, and that'll bring up Derek Dietrich.
Well, we've been ranting and raving about Double D here for about a month now. He's been all over everybody. Good to see him in the lineup today. In-game adjustments. That's the first cutter that strikes him out in the first inning. So he goes up there thinking, all right, this guy's got a good cutter. He's probably going to start me off with it. Yep, there it is. He made a mistake, left it out over the middle of the plate, but how many times have I told you, Paul, great hitting is getting your pitch and not missing it. And you see Dietrich right now classically in that spot. If you make a mistake right now, he's going to make you pay. Goes from the strikeout to 1 pitch to a home run on the very next one, exact same pitch.
And it has been 3 weeks. We're approaching about a month or so where he has been red hot. Entering the day 386 since May 31st. That averaged 4th in the major leagues since that date. And again, not in the original starting lineup today. as the original lineup had 9 righties.
Right.
Against the lefty Anderson. And of course, Dietrich coming off a 3-hit game last night, so I asked Don Mattingly, any temptation to get Dietrich back in the lineup? And at the time, they hadn't made the lineup change yet, and he said, yeah, of course there was. But we've had a lot of success with how things have been working out in the lefties and the righties. And again, that's said before, kind of that's where the spot of the platoon has been, generally speaking, in left field between Maben and Dietrich. But Miguel Rojas felt a little something in his hand, left hand contusion. So Miggy gets the day off. Hope to find out how serious that is after the game today.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dietrich certainly has everybody's attentions. Now, we see 22 batters into this ball game. Dietrich being the 23rd. He's the first hitter that's seen 3 fastballs in a row. I mean, it's been cutters and changeups and you name it, occasional fastball. Anderson has completely changed his game plan. Pops up that cutter, but changed it against Dietrich.
Arenado drifting 2 away.
Are you ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
1-1 here in the top of the 6th inning. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth, Jessica Blaylock, middle game of a 3-game series. Marlins and Rockies here at Coors Field. Both clubs in their 25th anniversary season, and the Rockies celebrating their 25th anniversary weekend. Big swing from Cameron Maben, or from Lewis Brinson rather. Maben's over at first. Brinson with a fly ball out to Charlie Blackmon in center field, who will lead things off as we go to the last of the 6th inning. They call him Chuck Nasty. Leads it off for the Rocks when we come back. Back here at Coors Field, 1-1 Marlins and Rockies as we go to the last of the 6th inning. Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado, and Carlos Gonzalez due up for the Rockies against Trevor Richards. That one goes through the wickets of Holiday into the backstop. Blackmon 0 for 2 today. In fact, these 3 guys are just a combined 1 for 6.
Yeah, I was busy looking at that myself. 4 strikeouts. Impressive. This is going to be a good challenge, though. Third time through.
Well, I guess that's a good thing, because you kind of read my mind, because I'm looking, as I always do before the game start. Our terrific game notes have it, so I don't have to do the extra work, which I appreciate. Third time through the lineup. Hitters are hitting .435 against Trevor Richards. Now, that's just on the whole. If you watch this game today, it looks like he is in complete control. He has done an amazing job against this entire lineup, as he has 8 strikeouts through the first 5 innings of work. But now here we are, third time through, and we've talked about it once, twice, or 1,000 times about how it's a lot of the fastball changeup today, and how can he get these guys a third time?
Well, I mean, again, it's not like he's all of a sudden just going to bust out the slider and start, attacking the middle of this Rockies lineup with something new, but you can change up your pitch location.
Line drive over the head of Castro and into right field, a leadoff base hit for Blackman.
Treat your family and friends to an unforgettable on-field experience at Marlins Park. Grab your glove and you can play catch on the field Sunday, July 15th, for the Marlins host the Phillies. Event packages for play catch day include 2 tickets, 2 all-you-can-eat wristbands. Proceeds benefit the Marlins Foundation. To reserve a spot on the field, visit marlins.com/playcatch. I had mentioned the sequencing right there. Blackman really had not seen anything to the inside part of the plate, so pretty good pitch. He was able to fight it off and kind of just get it into right field. I don't think that was a terrible pitch by Richards.
'81 pitches to this point for Trevor. He's gotten as high as 105 this year, but that was in the minor leagues at Omaha in early May. Major leagues, he's reached 100 pitches, so you figure there's plenty left in the tank. Something of an arbitrary number, I understand that, the 100 pitches. But it's kind of the industry standard, like it or not. He has gotten Arenado twice today, once on the changeup, once on the fastball, but 2 of the 8 strikeouts today.
You know, I think where he's at right now, Arenado, it's if he's thinking changeup, he's going fastball. If he's thinking fastball, he's going changeup, and that's a lot of ways where he needs to be. You can almost tell Arenado picking out some pitches, throughout yesterday's ball game. You can see him sitting on things. And he's been really, really hot, which makes him dangerous.
Chop to short, Rivera, Castro, and got him at first. It's a double play.
Yeah, well done and well set up. We showed you the fastball in to get ahead, then the changeup away. Arenado wanting to swing that bat. Slow roller to short. An easy double play. 6-4-3. Base hit erased. That's the kind of contact Trevor Richards is looking for.
Now Carlos Gonzalez takes a look at ball 1. Gonzalez today a strikeout, and he singled and scored in the 4th inning. Right back to Richards, who flips to JT, and a 10-pitch 6th inning with the help of a double play. 1-1. ball game, low-scoring affair, which doesn't happen very often here at Coors Field. 1-1 going to the top of the 7th inning.
It's like the opposite effect, right? You come to Coors Field and you're like, okay, well, there's probably going to be 10, 15 runs scored today. And when you see 1-1 and you see a great pitcher's duel, it catches your attention, doesn't it?
You don't know what to do.
It's like a slugfest at Marlins Park.
Right. Look at this. 6 innings, the same. Almost identical hits.
Creepy.
Runs, air, they are 2 different pitchers.
I'll tell you right now, I'd buy a 50-50 raffle ticket if I knew better.
It's a base hit for Yadiel Rivera. So another sharply hit ball for Yadi, and he is aboard to start the 7th. But when these two teams met in Miami, it was a total of 9 runs in 3 games. So this is a bit of a throwback to late April.
It's not supposed to be happening.
No, no, it's not.
Day game at Coors Field, beautiful day. Nice temperatures, ball traveling well. Except here.
There's Brian Holiday as Justin Bour has moved to the on-deck circle. So one would figure that is the day for Richards, and if so, what a day it has been. He's putting his helmet on, so I assume it's got to do with whatever the situation might be.
Well, he could be asked to move a runner along, depending on how the bat goes here with Holiday.
And we've got Brad Ziegler. Ziegler up. Chase that one low, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. So a lot of things going on, a lot of managing happening right now. You got Bour in the on-deck circle now, but you've got J.B. Shuck with a bat behind him. We've seen Trevor Richards grab a bat and a helmet, and as far as I know, only one guy can be in a box at the same time. So we'll see how it all works out, but it's all dependent on what happens with Brian Holiday, who floats one over the head of DJ LeMahieu. And it looks like it will be Bour. So Bour is in. What do you make of the strategy here for Don Mattingly?
Well, first of all, nice at bat by Holiday, keeping his hands inside of a ball. We talked about this all day long, just getting it to the outfield, so it set this up. Well, he's going for it. And listen, we told you about the reverse splits. We've told you that Justin Bour's got 3 pinch hit home. Well, we haven't told him that yet, have we?
No.
3 pinch hit home runs this year. We certainly know what he's capable of doing off the bench. Well, let's get to that point. I mean, listen, this is a classic situation where you say, all right, listen, we're going to throw the numbers out and say, oh, well, we got to send a righty up there. JB has done a pretty decent job against the lefties this year. This is a pressure-packed situation. And against Anderson, lefty's hitting .333. So you're right, okay, see the lefty numbers down a little bit, but the point is this. For me, Anderson is the one that you're concerned with. He's on the mound, he's laboring a little bit here, and he's got reverse splits.
3 pinch hit home runs this year for Justin Bour, tied with the Phillies' Nick Williams for the most in baseball. And anything into this spacious outfield may give the Marlins a lead. Rivera at second, on with a base hit. Holiday on at first, on with a base hit. And now the 1-0 to JB. Musgrave the lefty and Shaw the righty. Bour 1 for 3 in his career against Anderson. Dietrich's home run back in the top of the 4th inning, the only run today for the Marlins. Dietrich has homered in both games of this series. A low line drive down the left field line yesterday, and a high, majestic home run to right center field today. Pitching coach Juan Nieves talks with Trevor Richards, who was superb this afternoon.
In the last meeting that Anderson had on the mound, he went back to the cutter.
This one lined into right center field, and it will get down for a base hit. Freddie Gonzalez waving Yachty around. And the throw from Blackman is cut off, and it's an RBI pinch hit single for Justin Bohr. The Marlins have a 2-1 lead.
Well, in fact, the cutter. I think everybody was thinking the same thing, right? Great approach by JB. Time and time again, so good with this pinch hitting thing. Look where this base hit goes, Paulie. You gotta love it. Center field approach once again. Drives in, runs, and keeps the line moving. Look at Holiday running the bases. That's how you pick him up and put him down. He knows that ball's down. Get to third base. This piece of hitting. Cut fastball. Caught it off the end just a little bit, but a great swing. Gives the Marlins the lead.
And it chases Tyler Anderson. We'll leave the game with 8 strikeouts, down 2-1. Marlins still threatening. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen here in Denver. Has given the Marlins a 2-1 lead here in the 7th. Everyone deserves a second chance. Just play Grouper, enter your Lucky Money ticket online, and you're registered for the $400,000 Super Grouper Second Chance promotion. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. Well, a productive inning thus far for the Marlins. Single has him set up with a run in and first and third against Brian Shaw in his 41st game of the season.
Now you see the bloated ERA, 7.20. Things have not gone well for Brian Shaw. He might be the one that most point to here in Colorado when we say the bullpen has not gone as expected. There's the line right there. 10 of 18 inherited runners stranded, which means 8 have scored. Those aren't very good percentages. You would almost show that flipped around with the idea that he has not done his job when it comes to those inherited runners. He's given up 7 home runs already this year in a season, career high in a season, 8. So he's on his way. 7 wild pitches. That leads Major League Baseball.
So he'll face Starlin Castro with Holiday at third and Bohr at first. Again, 41st appearance for Shaw. At least 70 appearances in 5 consecutive seasons. His first pitch, a strike to Starlin Castro. Castro has reached twice today, popped up in the first inning, reached on a fielder's choice in the third, walked in the 5th.
Cut right to the chase. Cut fastball slider. That's what he throws. That's all he throws, really. 80% of the time you're going to see the cut fastball. Throws it hard, 94, 95 miles an hour. That slider, a little less, about 84. More sweeping action.
So if you're a righty, you know it's pretty much aiming for that corner. It's just a matter of how much further off.
He's throwing the cutter. You're just probably trying to think middle away. Don't pull off the ball. I think that would be at least my approach from a right-handed hitter's perspective. Kind of see the action, how it moves across the zone. It almost acts like a slider, but it's got a lot of velocity. 93 to 95 is pretty hard for that pitch. But again, with the movement, right-handed hitters hitting .371 against his cutter this year.
Signed by the Rockies in mid-December of 2017. 3 years, $27 million. And that goes to the bigger discussion point with the Rockies is, yes, the bullpen hasn't been great, but they've got a lot of money invested in this bullpen. In 2018 alone, they'll be paying just about $44.5 million to Wade Davis, Brian Shaw, Jake McGee, Adam Ottavino, and Mike Dunn. And on the whole, they have not been getting the job done. Ottavino's been very good.
He's the exception to the rule. See him foul off the cutter. I found it very interesting, like we were comparing the numbers and the struggles with the Colorado Rockies bullpen. Of course, it's a much bigger story when you spend that type of money and you're supposed to be contending for a National League West crown. Now, the Marlins, obviously, they've had some issues themselves, and on the whole, when you look at the season, both these teams have numbers in the same area code. My point is this: you have two of the best relievers in the building.
You're right.
Ottavino with the Rockies and Bearclaw with the Marlins.
So a chance for the Marlins to add to their 2-1 lead. Chopped foul. Single runs in the top and bottom of the fourth. And then a pinch hit RBI single for Justin Bour here in the seventh. Trevor Richards, the pitcher of record right now. We saw Brad Ziegler loosening up in the Marlins bullpen. Get the sense that no matter how good Richards was today, however good Ziegler has been, might see Steckenrider and Bearclaw too. Those guys have been great. Two may not be enough. Great chance to add on here. Slowly rolled to Arenado. Holiday holds up at third. Close play at first, and Castro is out.
I'll tell you what, that's actually a tremendous hold by Holiday at third base. I know that everybody's thinking, why is he not running on his way home? Listen, you got to know your own foot speed. And Arenado, one of the most aggressive third basemen in all of baseball, in a situation where you've got now runners at second and third, he realizes that Arenado's coming home if, in fact, Holiday takes off right there, and there's a good chance he could have been out.
Well, the Marlins have called for a challenge. A close play. This look might give us our best angle. And
he's safe. He's safe. I think his heel hit the bag first.
I think you're right. Now keep in mind, call on the field by the first base umpire and crew chief Jeff Nelson was out. So there's got to be enough evidence to overturn that call.
I'll tell you what, I'm convinced of this. I'm going to go ahead and say it because I really do believe it. I think Holiday set this up. I think Arenado really believed that Holiday was going to bust it for home, and that's where the play was going to be. There you go.
And the bases are loaded.
Look at this super slow-mo. One more look. Watch the right heel of that left leg. It's hitting the bag. That ball is still not to the interior of the glove. Bases are going to be loaded. So he continues to grow.
And the Marlins could not ask for a better hitter at the plate than Brian Anderson, who entering the day leading all Major League rookies, fourth in baseball with a .412 average with runners in scoring position. And his on-base streak has already been extended. Had a hit in the first, and another one here could give the Marlins the extra runs they need. So 20 consecutive games on base. 19 coming in. Everybody's looking up at Shin Soo Choo, by the way, who is he got on base again today, by the way, so he's up to
36.
Up to 36 games. Ball and a strike to Anderson. Shoots that one foul.
Well, you see that deliberate approach from Anderson. Really wants to stay inside the baseball. I guess he'll probably choke up a little bit more here, trying to shoot that ball to right center. This is where he's done some of his best work. This exact situation, which is typically uncharacteristic. You don't throw this out too many times with anybody. Down in the count, down to 2 strikes, runners in scoring position. Anderson has been fantastic this year.
Two and two. Holiday, the runner, at third, Bohr at second, and Castro at first. 4 consecutive singles for the Marlins in this inning. They've taken a 2-1 lead, looking for more. The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, LeMahieu comes home with it, and they get Holiday. Well, they didn't play the infield in all over the place, which would make you think that anything up the middle they were going to try to turn 2. And instead, LeMahieu makes the long throw home from deep.
He sure does. He did get his feet set, but again, a little sidearm throw, spot on, right on the money. But again, I think it just kind of caught all of our attention. He wasn't anticipating that. I don't think Holiday was either.
Well, 1 out, and the bases remain loaded.
Well, I mean, with this situation, I've got to say, advantage Marlins. I know that you would have allowed the run in, but you would have turned the double play essentially. Now you get your second hottest hitter up.
So now Real Muto takes upstairs, ball 1. JT today, a couple of strikeouts before a base hit in the 6th inning. Now it's Bohr, Castro, and Anderson, your runners third to first. Realmuto entering the day with a .352 career average against the Rockies. And .305 on the road this year. Perfect recipe for another knock here. Now they've scored 1 already, but you get the sense they have to score more here.
Yeah,
I don't think you're satisfied with it.
No, absolutely not. This would be a huge missed opportunity. Bases loaded. The question that you say to yourself in the Marlins dugout is, how big can we make this inning? We've got traffic out there. We've had some good at-bats. We've got to capitalize.
Support of Trevor Richards this afternoon. He still is the pitcher of record, 8 strikeouts, 1 run allowed in 6 innings of work. Nice bounce back start for Richards after a rough one in Baltimore his last time out. Realmuto to right field. Back is Cargo, and that one is gone. It's a grand slam for JT Realmuto to the opposite field. His 10th of the year, and the Marlins open it up.
What an at-bat from JT Realmuto. This afternoon started out with a couple of strikeouts, then a base hit to center field. You saw the deliberate approach from Shaw. Cutter after cutter after cutter. Stayed inside the baseball, finally got one he could handle. Every hit in this series has been to center field, now to right for JT. Marlins able to cash in every one of those runs.
If you need me, don't talk to me for the next 10 minutes. I'll be voting him into the All-Star game.
There's another cutter elevated above the belt. We gave you the numbers coming in. Shaw had already given up 7 home runs this season. 8 was the career high. Well, guess what? He's now tied it. What an at-bat.
Second career grand slam as it gives the Marlins a 6-1 lead here in the 7th inning. Maben doesn't chase, a ball and 2 strikes. You just can't take the bat out of the lineup. You know what I mean? You just can't do it. So grounded to Story at short. Maben is retired. No, but again, it's that versatility, and we see it with other guys, whether it was Mauer a few years back or Posey now. Like, guys will play first base, but this is a guy you want in the lineup 162 days a year.
Well, I couldn't be happier for him. I mean, he's really capitalized on the opportunity that presented itself, going all the way back to what happened this winter, how this lineup, how this roster turned itself over. JT Realmuto stepped into a position and an opportunity to capitalize. Knew he was going to be at the top of the lineup. His game was going to be center stage with this Marlins ball club, and you get to see how good JT is and how much he's taken his game to that next level. The projected distance, 382, whatever. Grand slam, baby. That's all you got to say. 2 of those in my career, and I'll tell you what, when you hit home runs and you hit the grand slam, there is another level of excitement that you feel personally for that moment. That is a big, big, big moment for JT. And you're right, couldn't be better. It's about the right time. What was the 23rd of June?
Yes, sir.
All-Star game right around the corner?
It sure is. You have until July 5th.
Really? If you're not a JT Realmuto fan yet, what more does he need to do?
Can't hit a 5-run home run. That much I know. 4 is the max. And he did that a moment ago with a grand slam. Part of what is now a 5-run inning for the Marlins here in the 7th. And for the Rockies, frustration on their side because their starter, Tyler Anderson, was really good with 8 strikeouts of his own through 6 innings, much like Richards, as the boos rain down here at Coors Field, and out comes Buddy Black.
You know, the Colorado Rockies are going to have to get their bullpen squared away. Oof.
Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Marlins up by 5. 5 runs in the inning, 4 on the one swing by JT Realmuto, as cricket gives us something to smile about that entire at-bat.
Yeah, and he had to work for it. Listen, the cut fastball, we told you what he threw over 80% of the time. Watch the hands. Look where every one of these foul balls goes. You don't see him getting out and around, trying to pull the ball, trying to do something bigger than the situation demands. He's staying inside the baseball till he finally gets a cutter that he can handle at the top of the zone. And what's he get? Yeah, that's right. Coors Field pays it off. A grand slam.
Still talking about that approach with Frank Menachino. You can't tell, but Frankie's happy about it. Can't quite tell.
It's concentrating.
That's his game face.
Game face.
He has got a game face.
Locked in.
Absolutely.
Well, I've said it enough times now. 2 hits today, obviously the grand slam. He's got 5 hits. Not one hit has gone to left field today. Like, this isn't just a message for all of us who love watching JT and the Marlins play baseball. If you're his teammates, are you picking up on what he's doing here at Coors Field and all that grass out there? Stay through the middle.
Harrison Musgrave, the 3rd pitcher of the Rockies today and the 3rd in this inning. 6+ from Tyler Anderson, 2 outs recorded by Shaw, and now Musgrave to face Brinson. He sends one out to left center field. Coming in is Parra to put it away, but the Marlins send 9 to the plate in the 7th. They score 5-4 on one swing. A grand slam, 2nd of his career. JT Realmuto gives the Marlins a 6-1 push. JT Realmuto with a grand slam, part of a 5-run 7th inning. Marlins in control. It's now up to a 5-game hit streak, 4 doubles and a home run, a big home run that is, as he continues to do very well against National League West teams at National League West venues. Of course, we saw that 2-run home run, 2-home run game in Los Angeles, backing Trevor Richards that day. And now J.B. Shuck takes over in right field. Ziegler gets the tapper to 3rd, and Anderson's throw, and able to, what can't he do? My goodness. JT keeps his toe on the bag, and there's 1 out here in the 7th.
Well, I can't even begin to tell you how important this out is. I was about ready to say something. He does hold the bag. Nice job, JT. Stay with it. There's the athleticism. He is a special player. I'll tell you what. Anderson tried to make that play on the run. But again, in the importance of the first out, this is the bounce back inning for the Colorado Rockies. This is a classic inning. It's another one you circle. Marlins responded, obviously got the lead, a big inning. A lot of times what you'll see here is there can be a let up here.
Left center field, Brinson a long way back, and that one is gone. A home run to left center field for Gerardo Parra. Driven in so many runs the last couple of weeks, and he talked earlier, it hasn't been himself that much, but he does so here with the solo homer. 6-2.
Well, first home run at Coors Field this season for Parra. Now 6 games with an RBI. Well, with the sacrifice fly, kind of really using the middle of the field. You see that swing? Boy, oh boy, that ball jump out of here.
He's got both RBIs for the Rockies today. As Desmond cuts at the first offering from Ziegler and into the seats. 0-1. So the new outfield, Maben, Brinson, Shuck left to right. Shuck will hit in the 9 spot. And Ziegler in for Dietrich. Number 5 hole for the Marlins. Two to Desmond. Now the point you were making as Parra hit the home run was certainly an important one, and that is the shutdown inning, as there are 2 outs now in the 7th inning. Because not only A, can run score quickly for any offense here at this ballpark, but this Rockies offense can.
It's the definition of momentum. I kind of cut myself off after watching Parra mid-swing as I'm saying, listen, you really love to get that shutdown inning as he drives one over the center field wall. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So what you need to do here is find ways to get those outs because it takes that momentum and you hold on to it.
This one chopped to Real Muto. That one, the easier of the defensive plays he makes this inning. A home run, yes, but 6-2 after 7.
By sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Capitol Building here in Denver, 6-2 the score as we head to the top of the 8th inning. Marlins up by 4. A grand slam from JT Realmuto. Marlins gave one right back, though. Fortunately, it was only the one on the solo home run by Gerardo Parra. Don Mattingly and the Marlins try to even up this series. They took 2 of 3 from the Rockies when they played in Miami at the end of April. As Yadiel Rivera will lead things off, then Brian Holiday and J.B. Shuck here in the 8th. It was Rivera that started the rally in the 7th inning. In fact, the Marlins went 4 consecutive singles en route to a 5-run 7th. And Rivera offers it the first pitch here, pops it up left side. It will be Arenado. 1 away.
Now, I'll tell you who set the tone for today. Trevor Richards. I think when you really look at what he went through in Baltimore to what he brought here to the opportunity and what happened yesterday. Again, Marlins offense didn't erupt right out of the gates. He kept things in check. He came out and showed flashes of that greatness that we've seen from him a few times this year, and did it in a pretty tough ballpark against a ball club that had been rolling offensively. Remember, the Rockies won 4 straight games coming in here at Coors Field, and the offense had been alive. I mean, they've been scoring runs at an incredible clip here of late. He changed courses and took things under control. Oh, by the way, congratulations, he got his first big league hit.
That's right. That's right. Let's go downstairs to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey guys, yeah, I just had a chance to talk to Marlins pitching coach Juan Nieves, and he told me that, with Trevor today, the key was establishing those secondary pitches. He said the changeup was active all game, but really it came down to fastball command, which was on point for Trevor. And he said that double play from Arenado was huge.
Absolutely. I mean, this, as we said before, this is a quick strike offense that the Rockies have, and any base runner, it's funny, one base runner can turn into a rally real quick here.
Now, this Rockies team knows how to play ball here at Coors Field. Point being, they're very aggressive on the base paths, and you're right. If you string a couple of hits together, next thing you know, you'll have that snowball effect. We saw it yesterday, and it was the 4th inning. And it wasn't like every ball was hit hard, and it was a double in the gap. I mean, they put together some infield hits. They took the extra base. Next thing you know, they're scoring 6 runs.
Ball 1 to J.B. Shuck.
He's absolutely right. We did mention the fastball a number of times. I mean, we kind of get stuck on what gets you the outs in the at-bats, and the changeup was that pitch, but he got there. And the point is the fastball command was fantastic to the point where he was playing off of it.
Chopped right side, LeMahieu. And Shuck is retired at 1-2-3-8. Marlins up 6-2. Series wraps up. German Marquez goes for the Marlins, and on the Miami side of things, or Marquez goes for the Rockies. On the Marlins side of things, it's Caleb Smith. As these two teams wrap up this 3-game series, Marlins wrap up their 3-city road trip. Both starters with 5 wins this season. Smith has certainly been known to register the strikeout quite a bit this year, but the last few starts he's been inducing more soft contact than anything else, it seems. Drew Steckenrider is in here in the 8th against Noel Cuevas off of the bench for the Rockies, and the first pitch is in there for a called strike. Well, Steckenrider has been nothing short of amazing as of late.
Well, I think that we get to Bear Claw and certainly rant and rave about the tremendous numbers he's been putting up for Steckenrider.
Shuck is able to make the catch in foul ground, a long run. That one just kept drifting toward the seats, but the closing speed of Shuck able to put it away for out number
he
1.
does a nice job of coming under control. That's the key to making that catch right there. Watch, he's left-handed, so the glove hand is going to be out in front and that shoulder exposed, so you tend to decelerate just a bit, successfully making that catch and protecting himself against the padding. I'm going to talk fast because Steckenrider pitches quick. 14 consecutive scoreless appearances for Steckenrider over 13 innings. He's only allowed 7 hits, 12 strikeouts, opponents hitting 163. Here's the one thing that I love. He's thrown 178 pitches in those 13 innings coming into today. That's 13.7 pitches per appearance. I mean, he is making quick work of the opposition. So, yes, story number 1 tends to be Bear Claw, but story number 2 right now is Steck. He is getting it done quietly. Already got that ERA back under 4, kind of creeping on its way down to 3. Doing great, great work.
Well, DJ LeMahieu, a former batting champ, has had a tough time figuring out the Marlins pitching all season. So the batting average right around 140 this year. This one lined out to Shuck, and it will stay up for out number 2.
MLB At Bat is your #1 app for Marlins baseball. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Marlins home screen icons and features such as MLB.tv, Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today.
The Rockies have tested Shuck twice in this inning and up to the task both times. Here's Charlie Blackmon.
That's a bad idea. He's too fast.
Single in the 6th inning for Blackmon. Also struck out, 1 of 8 today for Trevor Richards as he takes strike 2 on the outside corner.
Told you, Steckenrider works fast, man. Don't blink.
You'll miss it. Hoffman up. Jeff Hoffman for the Rockies as Charlie Blackmon's going to lose the shades. That's a lot of eye black, man.
Tell you what, if he gets a hit right here, I'm going to be mad.
Are you? Cue Angry Holly. No! A diving play by Cameron Maben in left field.
Get out your outfielder's glove. Outstanding defense here in the 8th.
And Holly stays happy for another couple of minutes. Take a look at this going to break. Cameron Maben laying out. On Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, in pursuit of your cure. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. 6-2 the score as we head to the top of the 9th inning. Marlins in front thanks in large part to JT Realmuto, a grand slam in a 5-run 7th inning as Jeff Hoffman takes over here in inning number 9. Face the top of the order, Castro, Anderson, and JT.
Well, as you can see with Hoffman, command has been an issue. More walks than strikeouts on the season. Of course, it's a small sample size.
Castro, right field. 1 pitch, 1 out. And Kyle Bearclaw up in the Marlins pen. Ryan Anderson takes a called strike. Anderson got a base hit in the 1st inning to extend his on-base streak to 20 games. Also came around to score on the grand slam in the 7th. Upstairs, ball 1. Fourth pitcher of the day for the Rockies. Tyler Anderson went 6+ innings, but his first 5, or check that, even his first 6 really were tremendous. 8 strikeouts, couple of walks, but then 4 straight hits by the Marlins in the 7th inning led to a 5-run frame. So he's charged with all 4 as Anderson strikes out for the 2nd out here in the 9th inning.
Saw the slider from Hoffman. It's got a 4-pitch mix, 4-seam fastball, slider, curve, and change. It was pretty hard, 92 to 94.
JT started this day 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts, but he has made adjustments, I think is fair to say. A base hit in the 6th inning and then the grand slam in the 7th.
It's so interesting. He was struggling an awful lot his first couple of at-bats with Anderson's cut fastball. It's actually what was giving him fits. In the 3rd at bat, he ended up jumping on a changeup and lining it to center field. We're talking directional hitting, a little bit easier to do that with a changeup than certainly the cutter. The cutter would be the pitch he'd hit the grand slam off of Shaw with. Of course, he is right-handed.
They hit that ball to the opposite field, but there's that yellow line at the top of the wall, and then there's a railing behind it. It hit kind of that shelf right above there.
That's all it takes.
Could have been 5,000 feet.
It doesn't even matter. Listen, it's grand slam. It's a special moment. He'll remember that for the rest of his life, and certainly will remember at least for the rest of the afternoon. But the point is that in that situation, he did the job.
Right.
And we've talked about this all series long. You've now played 2 games at Coors Field. Do the job. Runners on base cannot come up empty. At worst case, that would have been a sacrifice fly. It would have been a double off the wall, but it would have been, I did my job. The Marlins are going to score another run. It ends up carrying out. They end up getting 4.
Big swing this afternoon. As the Marlins try to get back in the win column. They've lost 4 of 5. JT takes the walk with 2 outs here in the 9th. Rockies will have Arenado, Gonzalez, and Story due up against, in all likelihood, Kyle Bearclaw. Won't be a save situation, but it also won't feel like a 4-run lead with the way this ballpark plays in that part of the Rockies order. Maben Center field, Blackman puts away the line drive, and we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. 3, 4, and 5 due up against the Claw when we come back. Marino with Todd Hollingsworth and Jessica Blaylock. Time for the Toyota Trend lowest opponent batting average since May 1st. No, we did not mess up a decimal place. That is 0.35 for Kyle Bearclaw. Nearly unhittable.
Yeah, and I think that's the point. You can break it down a lot of different ways and go back and look. Like over his last 18 innings, how about 1 for 55? That's 018. 1 for 62 in plate appearances with a whip of 0.4. It's not even the batting average. That's walks and hits per innings pitched.
Right.
Here's the thing that has been so dominant about Bearclaw. You see the numbers, 1.11 ERA. When he gets to 2 strikes, look out. Hitters are 2 for 65 on the season. That's an 0.31 batting average, and he has retired the last 20 batters he's faced with 2 strikes. So if you're a closer and you're trying to create in uneventful 9th inning, this is your guy.
All right. He's thrown a no-hitter and then some over his last 10 games. 9 2/3. No hits allowed. But not an easy test here in the 9th inning. Nolan Arenado, Carlos Gonzalez, and Trevor Story. A big double play ground out in the 6th inning that Trevor Richards said really helped. Or check that, Juan Nieves said really helped Trevor Richards to settle down in that 6th. Leadoff base hit by Charlie Blackman in a 1-1 game. And Arenado grounded into the 6-4-3 double play. Gonzalez tapped back, and that was the end of the 6th inning for Richards. In the 7th, the offense came to life, and here we are, 6-2. Ball and 2 strikes.
Well, the Marlins have done a nice job with Arenado this afternoon. Probably should wait till this at-bat's over before I break it down. Couldn't help but notice the nice sequencing between the outside corner and the inside corner.
Arenado lifts one out to left center field. Maben is back. He's on the track, and he makes the catch. Gave it a ride. Arenado's homered in 4 straight, but that one will stay in the ballpark, 1 away. Coming up at the conclusion of this one, Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson on the WB Mason Marlins Live post-game show. Talk about JT Realmuto, talk about Trevor Richards, and much more. Those guys just get their game face on.
All right, so now I'll do it. Now
Okay, go
that
ahead.
he's out of the way. Listen, with Arenado, as hot as he is, don't fall into patterns. I mean, that is such a big thing. And again, today they worked to both sides of the plate so effectively. 0 for 4, grounded into a double play. Couple of strikeouts. Obviously, you got the deep fly ball right there, but basically took one of the hottest hitters on the planet and gave him an 0 for this afternoon.
Carlos Gonzalez for the strikeout in the second. Singleton scored in the fourth. And tapped back to end the sixth. Ball and 2 strikes. And there are 2 away. The last hope for the Rockies is Trevor Story. Drew Steckenrider worked a clean 8th inning, so now he's up to 15 scoreless appearances, covering 14 innings. And you've got Kyle Bearclaw on the run that he has been on. And if the Marlins get a lead late, it's just about lights out. The 0-1 to Story, now 0-2. Oh, 2 to Story, doesn't chase. The other thing about Bearclaw is that the innings don't seem to last that long either. 17 pitches, roughly. Looks like it's the most since the middle of May.
He's had all 3 pitches working really for such an extended period of time. I meant it when I said it. I mean, there's not much more you could say about a closer in the game today. I know he doesn't have, you know, the track record of the long line of, you know, he's saved 100, 200 games or whatever. The point being is he's right there. I mean, he's in that spot right now. Call him hot if you will, but the 3-pitch mix, I mean, the ability to move all 3 pitches around the strike zone, to rely on them for strikeouts. He has done just a fantastic job. I mean, this is coming. I saw him for the first time last year every day. And he always had that moment where he might get himself in some trouble. Never was it he was getting hit hard. It was always walk a guy, maybe a play didn't go his way, then another walk, and next thing you know, there's trouble on the bases. A lot of times he'd get himself out of it. But what we've seen this year is that next level, that next gear, that next step that you take and say, okay, I'm going to avoid those situations altogether. You see how he attacks the strike zone. When we threw out the numbers, he's retired, what now, 22 straight batters with 2 strikes? I mean, it's almost silly. I mean, we couldn't put these numbers up on a video game. You know what I mean?
With a code.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's how good he's been.
Two balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs. Inside, 3-2. Lifted out to center field. Brinson moving over. Waves off Maben. Makes the catch. And it's a Marlins win. 6-2 the final score this afternoon as Kyle Bearclaw finishes it off for Trevor Richards. And a big day for JT Realmuto. A big hit. A grand slam in the 7th inning. And the Marlins win this one 6-2 to even up this 3-game series. As they get the victory. Coming up after the break, we'll send it back to Florida. Check in on the Marlins Live post-game show presented by WB Mason. Stay tuned. Marlins win at 6-2.